Welcome back to the Hip Hop Scholar Podcast, where beats meet bibliographies. I am honored to be your host, Melanie, the Hip Hop Scholar. Now, family, pull up, lean in, and turn the volume up because today's guest is not background music. It's not for passive listening, and it is not an algorithm filler. He is the kind of artist who makes you stop scrolling, stop talking, even stop moving, and listen. I'm talking about a young man who pours legacy into lyricism, who pours pain into poetry, pouring memory, triumph, grief, faith, and fire into every single bar and track. This isn't casual rap for you. This is lived experience set to rhythm. He doesn't just rap, he curates emotion, engineers feeling, and builds architecture that holds memory inside of it. Today on the Hip Hop Scholar Podcast, we have the honor of sitting with an artist whose sound is rooted in the 985, that's that Louisiana sound, and elevated by truth. Malik Anthony. On Instagram, you can find him at FRM-Anthony 985. Now let's talk about catalog, because this young brother is not moving lightly. From the Project 985 shit, he gives us something deeply personal and spiritually charged. You hear it in Misfits Prayer, where vulnerability meets accountability and faith wrestles with reality. You feel it in It'll All Be Over, a record soaked in soul and reflection, the kind of track that reminds you hip hop has always been about testimony. This is hip hop with texture, depth, hip hop that doesn't play in your headphones, it settles in your chest. Then Malik shifts into another dimension with something from your heart, from the heart, and the title alone tells you everything. Melodic vulnerability, emotional literacy in real time. Sad Song commands your honesty. It reaches into that quiet place people don't like to visit. And 526, that one feels archival, like a memory pressed on vinyl, a page from a journal that was never meant to be read out loud, but somehow became music anyway. And then there's the experimentation that he does, the intrigue, the evolution. When you hear a track like Snowfall, you realize Malik Anthony is not confined by one aesthetic. He builds atmosphere, paints scenes, creates cinematic universes with every note because it feels intentional. Malik Anthony is soulful yet sharp, gritty, graceful, street yet introspective, a rapper, writer, strategist, and an architect of his own lane. He gives you that hometown pride, confessionals, bars, ballads, and he can do it all without losing authenticity. But let's go even deeper. Malik Anthony, beyond the mic, is also a CEO, the visionary behind Culture Avenue, a brand built not just on ambition, but on remembrance, on honoring Boone and Wilder from Lafayette, on carrying names forward like sacred inheritance. His movement is not about attention. It is about legacy, ownership, and building something that outlives the applause. Because today, and this conversation is absolutely necessary, we're not just going to be talking about songs with this young brother. We're going to talk about the resurrection, about discipline, the dual identity with Louisiana roots, and the global grind, healing through sound, and building from the heart and scaling with intention. So prepare yourselves, because this young brother's story, sound, and spirit are cultivated and evolving in real time. Hip Hop Scholar family, show all the love for the creator, executive, storyteller, the culture carrier, the one and only Malik Anthony.
Thank you.
There you go. So proud to have you here. How you doing, Malik?
I'm doing great. I'm blessed. It's a blessing to be here. Long time coming. Very honored. So yeah, man, can't get no better than this.
That's right. Louisiana in the building, representing. So happy to have
Absolutely,
you on here.
absolutely.
So, you know the first question I ask my artists, talk to us, Malik. When did you fall in love with hip hop? We got to know.
I would say my first influence when I fell in love with hip hop, I probably took it back to when I was about like 8 or 9. Um, just hearing, of course, I heard all kind of music throughout the house, But I think just one day, I missed the bus leaving from school. I didn't want to walk home, so my mom was already kind of upset, coming to pick me up. But I just remember vividly her pulling up in a gold Camry, and all I hear is Slick Rick's children's story, and the rest was just pretty much it. Um, After that, I started deep diving, um, digging through the crates. My aunts and my uncles, they had a pretty good record collection. So every day, whenever they at work or busy, and I was there at the house, I was just digging, finding something new every other day. And yeah, me and hip hop been, two peas in the pod ever since.
Oh, fantastic. Shout out to your mom raising you right with that Slick Rick. I know that's right. A classic, right? The King Slick Rick, who he
Absolutely.
is. I mean, we all definitely were reared with Slick Rick. One of our first music videos. I can definitely say that was one of the first music videos I remember watching. And so digging in the crates. And that's so funny that you say that because a lot of your music feels like vinyl old school inspired. Like the
Thank
melodies
you.
on those tracks are so inspired with classic notions and nostalgia. Is that also a nod to your digging in the crates?
Absolutely. I feel like the most beautiful thing about hip hop is, of course, we over time we're one of the youngest genres, if not the youngest genre. We found a way to create subgenres in between it and also bring things that set the foundation for us back to life or give it brand new life. And that's why I focus so heavy on sampling. Like I never faded away from sampling because, man, one man's trash is another man's treasure. I'm not saying those old records are trash, but we're giving the new generation, whether it's people my age or people younger than me, chance to kind of, witness this greatness in a whole different light, or we're giving them a whole different chance to go ahead and dig in the crates themselves. So at the end of the day, it's not really about me; it's about the art itself. Um, so yeah, it definitely plays a big part in what I do as an artist.
Absolutely. A true artist to that. Such innovation that you create almost with this spiritual notion of being Lazarus, where you are bringing life to music that hasn't seen breath in a long time, but you're giving the life to that. And that's beautiful to witness and to hear your creativity with it. And so with that, you from Louisiana, you're from where I'm from, and you represent that 985. So how does your growing up representing that south part of Louisiana, how is that influenced through your music and your creative style?
Um, where I'm from, 985 kid, Patterson, Louisiana, born and raised. You know, everybody I've been around is authentic, whether you like who they are or not. They just been authentically them. You know, um, they're not afraid to put it out there. They're not afraid to wear their heart on their sleeve, and I think that's what kind of played a big part in molding me. And I always try to put that into my music. I know there's other artists that like the luxury rap, the glitz and the glamour. That's not really me. I'm not a gangster. I like rapping about me. I'm okay with me. Um, and the ones that grew up with me, they know that. The ones that's been around me, they know that. Um, and if you're from that area, you're gonna feel it. I can talk till I'm blue in the face about certain things and the lavish lifestyle and all that. But if I'm not really about that, you're not gonna feel that. It's gonna sound good, but you're not gonna feel it here. So the main thing I focus on is always try to keep whatever molded me growing up and where I'm from, you're feeling that every time you listen to it, whether you're from LA, Chicago, New York, Dallas, you're going to feel for that moment you're listening to From Anthony. Oh, this is how it goes down in Louisiana. Oh, this is the grittiness, the rawness that comes from it. This is that Southern hospitality, or this is how quick things can go left out there. And also just feeling how resilient artists can be from the South because we don't get that much recognition when it comes to resiliency, especially in the game of hip hop or in the culture period. We got our roots a lot of places in this game. And I just want to be one of those people that can help add to that.
Absolutely true. If you think about the history of Louisiana coming into the hip hop game, a lot of the South was represented in Texas. Shout out to UGK and the whole Houston underground grind with that, and then even with Atlanta, with Outkast and with Ludacris and these other artists that are there. But Louisiana really had to dig itself from the swamp to say and really present that information. I really like how you said the authenticity, and no matter where you are in the nation and around the world, because you got that global sound there too, Malik. It is so important that you stay authentic to self, to where you're from, and have that confidence and voice to ensure that people feel that. Now, in the game right now, we have social media. So lecture us on the benefits and the way to even leverage that authenticity and your music in social media altogether.
Well, and, and someone is still trying to figure it out. Social media is kind of like it's kind of like a drug when it comes to this music business right now, because it could be a great vice and an advantage where it could help catapult you to where you need to go. Then you got a lot of people that can get drunk off of it or addicted to it to where the main goal is now become the back burner. You started getting more active in social media for the music, but now it seems like you're doing more antics for social media versus, hey, I got this music coming out. And I always try to find a balance in there. Like, I'll be honest, I'm not going to post that much until it's time for me to drop a project. Half of the time you see me post something, it's going to be, me living my everyday life because I'm going to relate more to my listeners of me going about my day, living my everyday life, than going on the gram or Twitter say, hey, I got this watch, or I got these stacks of money, or I got this car, I got these woo woo, such and such. That's not to me. It may be authentic to some, but it's not authentic to the crowd that I'm trying to connect to and reach. Everybody got their own lane, and right now I'm just occupying mine. So, uh, yeah, like with something, I feel like it's a good thing, especially for independent artists, because you can be more hands on. You can network more. It's not like back in the day where you had to go through a record label. You had to go through an A&R or a lawyer to get to an artist to do a collaboration. Now, if you know that artist page or you build up enough buzz or they heard about you, you can just send an email. You can just send a DM, and you never know. The producer I work with to this day, me and him became great friends just because I built up enough wherewithal to go ahead and DM him because I had been paying attention on what he had been dropping. And I thought I was gonna have to come out my pocket, pay bread, but he had been paying attention to me too. And from that point, it ended up becoming a team effort where, all right, I'm not going to bust your pockets to do a collaborative effort with you, and you're not going to do the same to me. And now we have found something as a sense of brotherhood, not only when it comes to hip hop, but when it comes to the culture. And I think that's a lot of what the game itself today is missing.
So well said. And the necessity of being able to hear your music. Like, I have so much respect for your music, Malik. I told you before that you're very underrated. Like, the world really needs to catch up and hear the gifts that you are placing in your music. So beautifully placed together. This memory with music. I mean, even, like with my question here, that healing. You are creating music that has the memory and the emotion with it. Um, is is the music that you put together, is it healing something for you? Is it intentional to heal your audience? Because the beautification that you're putting together is something amazing, truly, truly amazing. And so, like, through what you're doing, and I dare say your ministry, are you healing yourself? Are you healing others? Like, what is your goal as you use this gift that you have to put this music together?
I think I'm actually doing both um, because I'm growing with my audience, and I'm glad that they're witnessing that growth in time. If you've been with me since my first project, I have developed a lot more humility and a lot more putting my pride to the side. since the first project, and then also just a lot more acceptance. And for those that listen to it, it's more of a therapy session, not just with myself, but also with them, because I like to point out the fact, hey, if I can make it through it, and I'm a nobody, like to my eyes, I'm a nobody. I'm a regular Joe Blow. If I can make it, I know they can make it. And I always try to put in my music the faith in God, because I can't brag about how I made it from point A to point B without mentioning the person that helped me get from point A to point B. So, uh, yeah, it's kind of like a big brother session when it comes to my music. It's like, hey, this is a judge-free zone. I'm going to tell you what's going on with me or what has happened to me, and hopefully this can help you go on about your day. Um, and to me, that's more important than $1 million. That's more important than fame and fortune. Did I change a life today? Did I make a difference today in a positive way? You know, um, and still, I'm a work in progress. Like I still go to therapy. I still pray. I still am involved in certain groups, especially helping out my community. So, in order for me to help those that are listening, I got to continue to practice what I preach. So, yeah, that's pretty much how I see my music. It's more of, I like to call it vent rap.
Okay.
So, yes, ma'am.
I like that. Talk to us about this vent rap. That's a, like you say, that subgenre that hip hop tells us. And shout out to our therapists that keep us grounded, the prayer that keeps us lifted. And but this essence of vent rap, of being able to put your vulnerability on wax, like break that down for us, young brother.
I'm saying vent rap mainly because basically where we're from, we vent, but it's a lot of bravado mixed into that vent. Like it's always, yeah, things messed up, but I'm good. And I kind of took that and flipped it on his head. Like, nah, I think especially as black men, especially with everything that's going on today, we gotta be more comfortable of admitting, hey, I'm not okay. I'm going through something. Like, I'm kind of messed up right now. And the rap, the way rap culture has been, not too many people, especially my age, are going to take that leap. Me, I look at it like this: if nobody's going to jump on it, why not me? I could be one of the first, if not one of the founding fathers of it. I know there's probably someone before me that took the same approach, but I don't think there's been someone in my era to make that approach and be as successful with it. So that's my thing. I want to unite. I want to help heal people as I'm helping heal myself. In the vent rap, I call it that mainly that because some of my most intense records, yeah, I'm talking about a lot of real life stuff, but it's just me venting how I felt at that moment, how I felt right then and there. Um, Probably because when I was younger, I didn't have that much of that privilege to vent as much as I wanted to, because a lot of young black men, we learn how to suffer in silence. And I'm trying to break that curse. And if I could break it through my music, so be it. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well said. Definitely so. That suffering in silence, um, and that representation of vulnerability of self in your music and putting that together, it's so vitally important. I'm so glad that you broke that down for us on this platform, Malik, because that is something that is, something that is an unsaid mental health, especially in the black community. Our black men suffer in silence. You have to have these broad shoulders and keep moving forward. Even though, it's such a daunting task on the inside. And so listening to your music and putting that together, it definitely showcases that. So continue on. I continue to push you towards the excellence that you are curating, Mr. Anthony, and continue to do that for sure. You be certain to do
Yes,
that.
ma'am.
Yes, sir. And when you're putting the music together, what's the process? Are I ask artists this, and everybody has their own unique answer. So when you are putting the music together, is it a freestyle session? Is it me putting it in audio notes? Are you writing? Are you typing? Do you have to have the beat first? when you put the music, or are you just writing music and then find the beat? Is it a feeling, a mood, colors? Like, what is the writing process when you're placing these feelings in motion?
It's all feeling, and just being inspired by real life. Because sometimes when you go in the studio, you might just not have it that day. You might just not be on your your rhythm. You might feel like you're all your partners are yes men. I don't really keep yes men in the studio with me. I like to be the only chef in the kitchen most of the time. But there's been days where I will write something and my partners will think it's cool if I spit it for them. Homies might be like, "Ah, it's not really there." So I believe in not forcing it. A lot of times, well, 95% of the time, my records really it starts from the beat on down to the writing, and the beat might not even come from me going through beats. It might be from me watching a movie or talking with my in-laws or my uncles, and I might just hear somebody drive by. I hear a fire, for example, Al Green record. I know the record my whole life, but just for some reason, this moment in time, it's relating to what I'm going through. So I go ahead, go through that record, see what part of it I want to splice, or I might go to church and hear the choir singing something so beautiful. Yeah, I'm in the middle of praising and worshiping, but I'm gonna go ahead and Shazam what this record is, so I can go ahead and dissect it a little later. Because when it comes to ideas and inspiration, a lot of people, especially MCs, they would make the mistake of trying to force it and say, "Oh, I'm gonna write about this and write about that." If you just be quiet and patient, it'll come to you. And that usually is the best record. When it's not forced, it's come to you. And that's why when the beat is finally made, you be like, I know what I want to write it, all that good stuff. Because it's natural. And the more you get into this game, the more you can start to tell who's natural and who's not, who's homemade and who's with that new stuff out right now, E Fret, who's doing that, who's uh all that good stuff. Yeah, fast food is good, it's convenient, it's something quick, but within the next 30 minutes to an hour, you're gonna be hungry again. I'm not trying to make fast food. I'm trying to make a full course, you know, you're home for the holidays, mama cooking for everybody type meal. Um, so my whole process is just organic. Sometimes it might take 2 hours to do a track. Sometimes it might take 2 days. Sometimes it might take 2 weeks. But it's all about not forcing it. I let it gradually come to me. And if I get in the midst of writer's block anything, I pray on it. And then the rest is just, I let God work through me.
There you go. Taking on that role as a vessel,
Yeah.
and that quality over quantity is so important. Um, that definitely showcases a difference as opposed to, and I've had these conversations where people like, okay, I want to do 20 beats in one day versus taking a month to only do three of them, and looking at the difference between the quality of that, and that's what really showcases like who stays in the longevity of the game as opposed to who will fizzle out of it, right? Taking
Yeah.
that time and marinating in what you're doing as opposed to quickly placing, like you say, Uber Eats, DoorDash, putting it together,
Yeah.
but it's not gonna last that long. So I really like that analogy you put together there too.
Oh, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when it comes to just the game itself, I'm seeing so many changes, and I'm also seeing what my OGs used to tell me. Nothing is new under the sun. So it's just about how it's presented. Now, I feel like hip hop right now, we're kind of in the midst of we're going through growing pains, but we're also showing glimpses of what the basis used to be. See, like right now, mainstream wise, record labels don't know what to do, so they're going back to over live. We're gonna go back to the dancing stuff. They like the dance. Young kids like TikTok. We are in the disco era of hip hop 2.0 because this is how it started. It started with people looping disco records. Now you got people looping house records and looping jazz and pop to make something very more. I guess they're looking for the viral moment, and it could be a blessing and a curse because now I'm to that age where I hear maybe 5% originality, and I'm hearing 95% copy and paste. It's like it's cool if you could sample something and bring it new life, but you're copy and pasting if you just sampling the first 30 seconds and you not coming up with no new concept off the record, you not adding nothing extra, no extra flair. All you doing is making people leave your record and go back to that old record. You not even building up momentum. And I think that's where the hip hop is at right now. Mostly.
Hmm.
You got language versions of, the lyricists, the boom bappers, the backpackers, which that's needed in hip hop. That's the problem right now. We need balance. And once we get back to that balance, we'll be able to take care of everything else when it comes to the music world. We're still the most influential, we're just not the most listened to no more. And I think we kind of needed that to get a reality check.
I know that's right. That gut check. I
Yeah.
read somewhere where there were no rap songs or no hip hop songs in like the top 20 or top 30 of Billboard. And I remember reading and hearing a media influencer talking about that's great that we're
Yeah.
not in the top 20, that we're not being so commercialized that, we are in always in the top 20. And so that allows for us to get back to our roots and get back to exactly what hip hop was designed for, the voice of the people at the times in which they're in. Also, another aspect of it is that when you are creating music and music like yours as well, it becomes timeless. Where the viral moment may not happen, as soon as you post. It may take a year, maybe 5 years from now, but that should be the goal, is playing the long game instead of, I remember, I forget the rapper's name, but he too fell into that trap of recycling and regurgitating the same type of recent rap. And what happened and makes him upset is that it ended up turning into this 10-second loop for TikTok songs. And he was
Yeah.
so upset because that was not what he wanted, was for it to turn into this pop twerk song for people to, dance to. It was actually something that he had taken the time to put pride and effort into. So, the success for him, he never made, even though it became this popularized 10-second loop, if that long, for TikTok dancing.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think that's because I don't want to offend nobody when I say this. I think that's because the labels and we play a part in the blame too. We let the powers that be, even though they don't have all the power, we still can credit the powers that be. We let the powers that be attempt what they've attempted with every other genre for as long as I've been alive. I've only been alive for 29 years. They're trying to make hip hop corporate. They're trying to make hip hop H&M music. They're trying to make it co-worker music. It's never meant to be co-worker music because it doesn't come from that level of class. It comes from the lower class. It comes from the people who pulled up their bootstraps and built up this country. It comes from the immigrants that they're trying to get out of here, but they ain't really immigrants because one of the reasons you got nuts and bolts in every doorway and every hinge in this country. But I digress. Um, that's all it is. They're trying to, and forgive me for also what I'm about to say, they're trying to whitewash hip hop, and it's impossible because it's in our DNA. You can hire any Joe Blow up the street and get as many writers as you want, but if it ain't coming from the soul, yeah, it's convenient. So it's McDonald's, so it's Subway, but it ain't gonna beat out Ruth's Chris. It ain't gonna beat out. I know it's the buffet, Golden Corral. It's not gonna beat out Chick-fil-A. It's not gonna beat out well-known, established people who have a legacy. And you can't expect for something like hip hop to thrive when the people that's sitting at the table are visitors of the culture. And we so worried about trying to get to that table when we got enough resources, we got enough talent, and we have enough of this to make our own table, not even just our own table, our own building. And have they tried to stop us before? Absolutely. But we have too much access to knowledge. We're too witty. And we bring too much value to this country itself to let something like that deter us. But We still got a lot of work to do within ourselves as a race, as a culture, because we still got crab in the bucket mentality. We still got, oh, I'm better than you and you underneath me, instead of saying, hey, let's help each other so we all can be great. Yeah, it's a competitive sport. That don't mean you got to kick a person when they down. You know, you can't. You're not supposed to burn the bridge that you know you might need one day. And excuse my French, a lot of motherfuckers can't swim, so no need to be burning the bridge anyway. Um, so that's just my view state on hip hop right now, and I think it's a blessing and it's well needed that we didn't have a top chart record. Hip hop needs to go back underground. Like it needs a revelation. It needs a restart button. One that family starting all the way over, but we need to go back to that grittiness because we didn't got too cute. We didn't got too polished. We didn't got too pinky color. That's why everybody and their mama can just go grab a random beat and be like, hey, I'm rapping. No, this is not a hobby. This is an art. And once we understand that, and I feel like in the next 5 years, hip hop is going to be in a real good place because you got the OGs that's like, okay, obviously the young bucks don't know what they're doing or they don't know how to lead the tilt yet. So we're going to go ahead and drop great projects. Every great album I heard this past year in the late end of last year all came from the OGs. And they beat the stigma of saying that, oh, hip hop is a young man's sport. No, it's not. It's not. It's a young man's game, but it's old man's territory. Because if you learn how to stay in this game long enough, your wisdom gonna outwit anything that young buck talking about. Because he ain't done living yet. I thought I was a dirt rapper in my early 20s. I thought I was the bee's knees. I go back and listen to some of that crap. Yeah, I was spitting. I wasn't talking about shit. I'm not talking about nothing. I had a little bit more living to do. So Um, like I said, the next 5 years, the guys that you see that are carrying the torch now, the Pusha T's, the Kendricks, the Coles, you got those underground guys like Grand Marciano, Westside Gun, they've been holding it down for years. People are going to get tired of this commercialized cookie cutter bullshit, and this is slowly starting to make its way back to the forefront. And I think hip hop is in a better place. The world of music is in a better place when that type of balance is going on. Hip hop still needs the dancing portion. They still need the cookie cutter, the kids rappers. No diss to them. You still need the Lil Russells. You still need those cats. But you can't just find one side of the game. You gotta have multiple varieties. That's how rock thrives. That's how country music thrives. That's how R&B thrives. So you just trying to figure it out. Youngest genre, grand pains, it happens.
Oh yeah. Oh, such knowledge you just spent there, young man, for sure. I mean, when you were speaking, it made me think about that. Some social media influencer is a black woman, and she came out with that song, "Give me one margarita and I'm doing it done," and it became a hit. And she's not a rapper. She's not a musician at all. She just caught a tune, put it together, and it went viral. And her replication of that, and she's a comedian too. She does like a podcast with Kev on Stage.
Yeah.
Shout out to both of them. Yet, even she recognized that, she never intended at all for it to be something that was taken seriously, and not part of the culture. It was just her really replicating something
Yeah.
that is always happening where somebody puts something catchy together and it's crass at base. There's nothing
Yeah.
said about it. There's nothing to grow from it. But that virality, is that even really success? To go viral, is that the goal? Is that what success is? Talk to us, Malik. What is actually the success that an artist should be looking for when they're putting together their music? And I think you spoke about that already, about going back to the basis of what hip hop is and what it was, and how you have your old school rappers coming back. Slick Rick, even Slick Rick came back. Kwame came
Good
back
album.
to create greatness. So for them and for young people coming up, define success in the music industry for the genre of hip hop for us.
Success to me especially as an artist. I feel like success would be where you find solace if you decided to walk away that day. If you decided to stop making music that day, are you at peace with it? Did you leave it all out on the mic? Did you do everything that you wanted to do? Because if your success is based off of money and materialistic things, you'll never be satisfied. You'll never quench that thirst you're looking for. You'll never scratch that itch that you have. Um, you got to have some morals and standards about yourself. Um, and I hate to say it, is a lot of these young and up and coming artists, I don't really see it. And maybe I'm wrong for assuming, because assuming make an ass out of you and me. But I also pay attention to the term of all you gotta do is show me who you is once. That's all you gotta do is show me who you is once. Like I'm so like, for example, we have fallen so far. Like the bar is so low right now. We got people like Sexy Red getting top 10 Billboard hits. No disrespect to Sexy Red, but if I wanted to look at black exploitation in music form, I'd have put on Superfly. I'd have put on one of them old films, Dolomite or something like that. Or I'd have went to the local strip club and put on an instrumental and told them, hey, rap the best you can. Because there's nothing out of that that's not moving the culture forward. Yeah, you need stuff like that, but it's already been done and at a better clip. Trina did it better. Lil Kim did it better. Shit, if you want to go to the male side, Uncle Luke and them did it better. The bounce artists in New Orleans do it better. But they don't put her into the forefront because they want you to keep the genre dumbed down. They want you to keep it one dimensional. They don't want to elevate the women. They want to deter the women. And then when you tell them the truth, a lot of these women, young and dumb, well, I'm not going to say dumb, young and ignorant, because they don't know the damage that they're doing to themselves or to the future after them. Oh, you just having fun. You ain't no, I'm not hating. They really laughing at y'all because y'all glorifying and uplifting a woman that's talking about her body parts, not even being properly clean. Like we went from glorifying respect and art to now we glorify ratchetness and ghetto-ness. We understood that was part of the black community, but it ain't gotta be the end all be all. Like you were sure you think when you bring a return from that stigma. Now it seems like any big label that finds a black artist from that, they gotta try to make them force that on youth. They want more of that. It's sad. It's very sad. Um, but there's still hope. There's a couple of good projects that I heard and a couple of great artists that I'm seeing coming up. But my biggest concern right now for hip hop, and once again, I'm just an independent artist. I can only make so much of a difference. Underground, once again, I'm not worried about it because in the next couple of years, that's going to be the forefront. My biggest concern every single day is the state of female hip hop.
Mm.
The state of female hip hop is in such a bad place right now. Yeah, y'all getting on the charts, but y'all music ain't got no substance. And that goes for all of them. Meg, Lotto, Ice Spice, Sexy Red. Sound like I just named a rendition of the Powerpuff Girls, didn't I?
Yeah. I want to add to that because I just interviewed Alligator Alfred. She is an MC from New York, Aida, and she talked about how she and I grew up listening to Queen Latifah, MC Light, Moni Mel, Yo Yo, and how now, as Aida calls it, it's the prostitute era, where when we grew up with those female rappers, it was never just looking at them as female rappers. The only anatomy that people looked at with them was the heart of what they put together as MCs. They had to respect as being MCs because they didn't have to take off any clothes. They didn't have to showcase any of that. And then it did change into this this exploitation of body and having to do that in order to get on the microphone. And you see that more so now, even with Glorilla and with Lottos, where, and Megan Thee Stallion, out here in Houston, if you actually listen to her lyrics, It's completely unnecessary, truly, for her to have no clothes on. It's unnecessary. But what sells? The sex sells. But at the same token, does every single rapper have to do that in order to make money, in order to be successful? Not just making
Um,
money, but
I think
this
it's a
stamp
choice.
of success. Talk to us.
I think I think it's a choice because I think men care more about the fame than she does the impact of her music. I'm gonna tell you why.
Hmm.
She has been big. She has been so popular to the point she could turn and tell you, Rock Nation now. Rock Nation, though they got allegations and all that, but Jay Z is a marketing genius. He's gonna listen to you if he feel like you know what they're doing when it comes to your brand. He's had plenty of proof of that when it came to Rihanna, J. Cole, Maxo Cream, Rap City, the list could go far. Speaking of Rap City, that's how I know. Is Megan Thee Stallion as skillful as the Rap City? Not by a long shot. Not by a long shot. We talk about spending substance. But Rhapsody refused to strip down and show all her goods and all that. Still walked away with a Grammy. It took us some years. It took a lot of years to get overlooked and slept on because a lot of people like the popular aesthetic. It looks good, Nicki Minaj. Um, that's the main reason why she's not getting her flowers until now. But she has been able to spit with the best of them. I watched her home with J. Cole. I watched her get violated business. I watched her hold her hand with the Night Wonders. Her rapping over Jay Dilla beat. She's hung around with Mac Miller, Big Sean, the list can go on. About her skill. Not because how fat her ass is, not good at how her curves look, but her skill. If Meg had to stand alone on her skill, I don't think her confidence is there. That's why she's relying on the sexual appeal. But my thing is, if you're gonna stay in this game for long, it's a sad thing when it comes to the wrong side of hip hop. If you build your whole brand on sexual appeal, you got about a 5 to 10 year window. If you're doing work on your body, because the way men are, and I hate to say it, a lot of men are visual people when it comes to female rappers. So, oh man, she getting over that line. Then the label starting to hear that and they notice that you're not the time no more. Now you got a shelf life. Then it puts you on the shelf. It happens to every female rapper. You are not bigger than the program. It's happening to Nicki Minaj right now. Like she still thinks she's a young spring chicken. No, you are not the mama no more. You are LT. You are Leon. Damn near.
Right. Right.
It's the truth. So if men don't be careful, if she keep on her shake ass and all that, if men don't smart, she'll be getting into her soft girl era. So for her, about women empowerment. You got a man now in the NBA. It's a great way for you to be. If you still taking ass by the time your ass 35, 36, I think the tell you, the hours gonna start going double counted. Last year. Oh, you know, it is what it is. Like, I'm screaming. And Spicy Brand. And Steve Loaf. These Loaf got BBL. It didn't help. The melodies didn't help. You try to do a collab album with Lil Baby. It didn't help. It bought you some time, but it didn't help. Um, shoot, bottom right now, you got with a chick that's in the same class as you, but she ain't got nothing but her innocence. Nice, nice. Y'all two collab together. That shit stayed on the billboard for maybe a week, and then it plummeted. It's not working no more. People are waking up. And if all you got to offer is your cleavage and what your mama gave you back up, you gotta think of what you're trying to say. How you want me to take you serious when you don't even take yourself serious? And that's my problem with women hip hop right now. Like, 'cause they care more about how they look and what they can do and how sexy and all that. What are you rapping about? I can put my whole thing out right now. Nobody can show me 5 songs with Million is rapping the whole way through. She ain't bringing up her ass, pussy, titties, or how good she can take a man and all that. It's the same thing they do with Lotto. They rap the great thing. Lotto is the only one that's at least trying to step out the middle. Like, hey, I see what y'all doing. I'm gonna go ahead and pitch. I'm gonna try to rap with these cats. Is she the best rapper in this class? No. Respect her for how rough he is. We respect her for how great she is. We haven't seen that in a while since Queen Latifah. Like we haven't seen that in a while since who can Rod Digger, Mia X.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Right.
Yeah, she's rough and tough, but she know when to pull it back a notch. She can bring the sexual appeal, but she know when to bring it back a notch. She understand the difference. It's time for me to draw attention with this or draw attention with this. Mark Lynch, well, Ray is going to have a longer career than Meg. She's going to have a longer career than Ice Spice. She's going to have a long career than Sexy Red because she understands the game already.
Mm-hmm.
They just understand, oh, I'm popular. Glow didn't have the viral. She had one viral moment. And then after that, she just kept working. She kept out with solid projects and albums. The other girls that I just named, not no solid project. I listen to all their projects. I could probably skip 2, 3, 4 times. Glow probably got the whole project where I can let it run the whole way through. And I ain't gonna have no problems.
And on top of that, with Glow, there's a lot of different generations that listen to it too. You got the aunties that are playing it nonstop and listening to what she got to say and don't have to skip any of them. And just to go into that, everything you're saying, you're being both an artist as well as a CEO. So you're not just saying this as, someone who listens to music or skimming through it. You are a participant where you are a boss as well as an asset to a business. And so to kind of pivot back to your vision, right? And you gave great perspective when it came to that. And I would love to, have a conference even to talk about that. Like definitely gave me an idea to do a whole conference just on the female MC in 2020s and what's going to happen beyond. But just to pivot back because you're bringing that from so many different hats. Like you're saying that from a CEO perspective as well as an artist, as well as a producer. You wear many hats when it comes to the music thing. So what you're saying has true merit. And I want to say that for sure. What you say has absolute full respect and should be adhered to. Now, when it comes to putting together your vision and putting together from a CEO perspective as well as from a musician's perspective, talk to us about your business, Culture Avenue, in addition to how you balance your vulnerability in your music, the business aspect with the creativity. So, talk more to us about from that perspective about your business and vulnerability, which is a daunting thing, I would definitely have to say, but you're doing it so beautifully. So break that down for us too.
So the whole thing is everything has to rotate into each other. And I owe that to Louisiana legend Currency. I learned that from him, growing up watching him. He's found a way to do it his own way, self-made man through and through. Signed to big labels, did what he had to do, obligated those contracts, got out of there, walked out of there with his publishing and masters. In the same time, had his clothing brand going. Anything he was rocking with his clothing brand or rocking at his show, the money was fueling into the music. The music fueled into the car brand. The car brand fueled into his other endeavors. And that is my main goal that I'm trying to do. And we've been successful. And then there's been times where we had to go back to the drawing board. I'll go ahead and do shows. I have my brand on or one of my partners' brands because I have friends that are clothing owners, well, clothing brand owners as well. Um, if they cop right then and there, hey man, here's a barcode next to my shirt. That shirt is going to lead to all of my links of my music. So if they rock with me with the clothing is going to lead them to the music. If they rock with me with the music, it's going to lead to the clothing because they're going to ask, hey man, what you got on? Oh, this is my brand. If you go to this table right here or go to this page or this website or I'll let my partners, they'll get you right. Or sometimes you got to take the risk for marketing and give out free merch. There's been plenty of times I done went to the local college campus, handed out 10, 15 shirts. Hey, we got a show tonight. Ooh, ooh. They come and show up. Everybody got close to having them. Oh, man, what's this? Hey, that's my brand, such and such. Oh, you do that, you rap too, man. Let me lock in with you. It's all about how can you spend the least amount of money, not being on no cheapskate stuff, but also spending the least amount of money, but doubling what you're investing in. So if I'm investing 150 and that's split between my clothes and my music, how can I turn that 150 to 350? You
Mhm,
know?
that's right.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
So my main goal is I'm trying to be a mix between Currency and Master P, but have the lyrical prowess of a Kendrick or Andre 3K.
Oh, such a blend, a master blend there. Yes. Shout out to Currency and Master P, and then Kendrick Lamar. And who was that other artist you had named? Shout out to them all.
Andre 3K, of course, man. Love Andre.
Respect to all of them. That is definitely a mix there. And that shows your research and the traditions of hip hop. Like you're not just sticking to just the South because where we're from, you have the bounce music that's really more prominent, and there's nothing wrong with bounce music. Shout out to Big Frida and your girl Mel and everybody out there putting together the bounce music. But to really venture outside of that and find those connections and then those collaborations, you even shared some good music with me. I don't know. Let me see, you shared some real good music with me from a collaboration. Is it okay if I share it real quick? One of the songs?
Yeah, that's fine. That's
Okay.
move on.
That I manifested. Try to nip it in the bud before both sides got aggressive. I mean, the moves you made was quite impressive. But I just
Can you hear it?
one bad investment. Motivation to get right is what I was left with. Now my overall 99 working with some leverage. Play this moment in my head 1,000 times. But still can't help it. Impersonating, finding shit in you in the head with a message. It's not the fact I know who you prep with. It's the fact that it's someone I once respected. Me up some. 95 shit. Flousing on the boards. I see you still a slave till you met the journey for that first time high. From my view, you look possessive, involved in the daily obsession. To look alone answered all my questions. Last laugh that I manifested. Try to nip it in the bud before both sides got aggressive. I mean, the moves you made was quite impressive. But I just seen it lost just one bad investment. Motivation to get right is what I was left with. Now my overall 99 working with some leverage. Play this moment in my head 1,000 times. But I still can't help it impersonating, finding shit in you in the head with a message. It's not the fact I know who you prep with. It's the fact that it's someone I once respected.
Man.
Oh yeah.
I had to share that because you were just talking about collaboration. Go ahead and talk to us. Go ahead, man.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm blessed. I do this mainly just because paying homage to the ones that did it before me. So um, I never overstep those boundaries. And if you listen to my music, you can definitely tell I study those greats like it's Shakespearean literature. Um, and then of course just my influence. I was heavily influenced by the East Coast sound as a kid, even though growing up in the South. So I just found a way to make that work and blend. So production wise, yeah, it's gonna be very East Coast influenced, but my dialect is Southern. So I just found a way to balance it. Another guy that I studied that does that very well, I studied a lot of J Electronica too. Another unsung hero from the boot. So yeah, a lot more on the top. A lot more working on my song making and stuff. So if you're excited about that, you're excited. You're gonna be in for a good treat coming up this year. So
Oh, I already know. I already know. I reached out because, and with every reschedule we had to do, I wanted to be clear that I needed to talk with you. And hearing you speak today and the knowledge that you truly have makes your music even more outstanding to me. Extraordinary, even, young brother, because you are very true to this. And to be quite frank with you, you are truly like the prototype to my thesis for this platform, where I want to make certain that hip hop is classical music, like how people, force people to study Shakespeare, or we have to listen to Beethoven and have respect and reverence for them. I it is artists like Malik Anthony that embodies all of that and showcases the classical historical relevance that is necessary to go beyond the future, that Afrofuturism that you embrace with your music. You know, you are absolutely the epitome of what I'm trying to do. Like, you are the student that has put together everything that I've been trying to preach this whole time. And I honor you today. And I really hope that that came through today, Malik, that you are
Oh
honored
yeah.
by what you put together with your music, your knowledge. You are super intelligent. And everything you put on your social media, you show your wife, your beautiful wife, all the time. You show all the events that you go to. Like, you are very true to this, authentic to this, and a role model to many that are coming up in the game. And we have been blessed to have you on the platform today, sincerely.
Thank you. I'm blessed that you was able to have me, and we were finally able to get it on track. I know we had a lot of different schedules, but man, all in God's timing.
There you go. All in good timing. And you know, all of your music that you're putting together, that you've already put together, if it is as you're evolving, you know, that is timing. You know, Hip Hop Scholar family, you know, as we end out this conversation, you know, you're gonna see this young brother again, because again, you gave me inspiration to put together this conference to talk about the female MC. So I invite you to come back for that, and then to talk about your new music, if you let us have you, young sir.
Oh, Chris, Chris, I'm always down.
Oh man, I appreciate that. I sincerely appreciate that. So before we go, I want to give you the last word. I want you to say whatever the last thing you'd like to say about your music, about the stance of hip hop. You know, you are a wise young man. You know, you're a young brother. And so I want to give you the last word before we get out of here. So go ahead, my brother.
Keep creating. Uh, to the fans and listeners, thank y'all. Love y'all. 985, never die. And also, just be true to yourself. No matter what nobody else say, just stay true to yourself. Everything else gonna work out because God already got it written for you. So, yeah.
That's what's up. And with that said, the Hip Hop Scholar Podcast, we are out of here. Peace.
Peace.